G'day guys, my name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe, and yes, in case you can't tell, I am tingling with excitement for the prospect of the reigning, defending, the undisputed #1 ranked team in the history of human existence, the mighty Wallabies, that will be playing against the Springboks this weekend in hostile territory in the dark, cold pits of Ellis Park. And boy, this is going to be a huge game, especially, in my opinion, that Dr. Rassie Erasmus, with his mind games, he may have overdone himself a little bit with the selections, whilst Mr. Joe Schmidt, maybe we should call him Dr. Joe Schmidt as well, Dr. Joe Schmidt is starting to play a little bit of mind game of his own. He's put the famous beard on the field at number 9. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But before we do, I had a blow up with my old man this week with regards to, wanting to go to South Africa and watch some rugby games. And obviously my super conservative Asian father was not having any of that, right? So yeah, the conversation didn't go well. I basically went up to him and said, hey, look, I want to go watch some rugby in South Africa. What do you make of that? Like, what are your thoughts? And he turned to me and he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said to me, well, let me tell you something, Lighty. When you go to South Africa and you sit in the cold, dark pits at Ellis Park, surrounded by those Rassie maniacs, right, where the devil is close and God himself can't hear your prayers, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, Lighty, when those Rassie maniacs and the Boca Mania run wild on you? What you gonna do, Lighty? And I kid you not, I looked at him and I said, look, Dad, that's all in your head. It's not gonna happen. Rassie Mania will not happen it not happen against the Wallabies because the Wallabies are gonna win. It's gonna be killed off. The Wallabies will end Boca Mania this weekend at Ellis Park. Mark my words, okay? Now let's move on. That's just my little life story. Okay, look, I exaggerated a little bit, but that's pretty much how it went. But hey, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about what's happening. And by the way, before we talk about the game, I made a video like yesterday talking about the potential, I just want to have a little bit of rant, okay? I know we're not supposed to rant too much. I have a little bit of rant here about this article yesterday that talks about the end of potentially end to rugby championship, and it's put on hold for a few years. And here's what I really have a problem with the way that, these journalists, so-called journalists, sports journalists, portrays rugby. And it's really, really disgraceful. And I want to call him out a little bit. Ben Smith. So he basically said that one of the reasons, rugby championship hasn't gone well because we haven't promoted it well enough, which is fair. And he also mentioned that another reason is because the one-sided dominance by the All Blacks for most of its existence. And as a result, and the rugby championship hasn't garnered the attention or jeopardy of the Six Nations, which seems to throw up a new champion every year. In the 25-year history of the expanded Six Nations since 2000, no team has ever won titles 3 times in a row. New Zealand has achieved defeat 3 times since the inaugural the rugby championship in 2012. So this just really boggles my mind, right? This, in every bloody sport in the world, having a reigning dominant team literally pushes the sport to stratosphere, right? Think about, everybody's heard of Tom Brady and the Patriots, even if you don't watch, NFL. Everybody's heard about Tiger Woods, even if you never played golf. Everybody's, watched, LeBron James, even if you never watched basketball. You know what's really, really, really funny? Even in a fake sport like WWE wrestling, right? Rest in peace, Hulkster, by the way. Even in the fake sport WWE, the most popular aspect is the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. It's a fake sport and a fake winning streak. And it's the most popular thing in all of sport. And yet, you have actual people working in rugby claiming that a dominant team, which, by the way, whenever the All Blacks showed up back in those days, sold out instantly, the tickets, right? I remember the Bledisloe Cup ticket used to sell out in like 10 minutes. Seriously, you had to literally get on the phone immediately as tickets were released. Otherwise, it's gone. That sort of draw power somehow is a bad thing to the journalists of nowadays, right? Like Ben Smith. Like this is the attitude. This is why rugby doesn't grow. Because of absolute atrocious portrayal of the sport by these so-called journalists that's supposed to promote a sport. And like, Ben, if you don't like rugby, stop watching and go report on another sport. Anyway, that's my little rant. Let's talk about the mind games. So, in addition to the beard that's going to be on the field tonight, another guy, this guy, my man, Rabbit, will be playing this weekend. And one thing you guys probably didn't know about Rabbit, his grandparents were South African. They were Afrikaners. And so, when he was born, he actually had the option. So, no. His parents were born in New Zealand. He grew up he spent some time in New Zealand. He was born in Australia, so he actually had the opportunity to play for Springboks, All Blacks, or the Wallabies. So this is like a homecoming for this guy. All right, he will be he will be back to the to his I guess home of origin, his heritage this weekend, and this will probably be the last time he will be playing a professional game of rugby in South Africa as well. And or maybe if he plays next weekend, the last tour for him as well. So really looking forward to this one for James O'Connor. He had an outstanding season in Super Rugby as well. And and speaking of, Ellis Park Wallabies has never won at Ellis Park, and a lot of people are riding out the Wallabies. But just remember as well, before this game here, I highlighted this game here, before 2022, when Springboks beat the Wallabies here in Sydney, in my backyard, the Springboks actually only ever beaten the Wallabies 3 times in Australia in its entire history. It's only like recently, like last year essentially, last few years, when the Springboks really broken that stalemate and extended that record. So it doesn't take much, really. It doesn't really take much to break that tradition and history, and suddenly the floodgates will be opened. And yeah, so I have a really good feeling about what's going to happen this weekend, but hey, I'm always wrong, but we'll see. Over the July Test series, both teams have two different outings. The Springboks have some really, really easy games. The disrespectful, disgraceful Italians, let's just say, call it what it is, boarding their B team to South Africa. Georgia actually put a better effort than the Italians put on their best team on the field. So yeah, it was a pretty easy outing for the South Africans. Tried out a number of different positions. So the Rassie Rasmus has continued with some of that trial and error this weekend against the Wallabies. The Wallabies had the British and Irish Lions tour. Obviously, the players are all given a lot of exposure in 3 tests. Obviously, I thought, Tupou, if he had played in the first 2 tests, would have made a big difference, especially in that second test. Could have probably won that. That was just a very, the players coming off the bench was really not enough for the Wallabies to finish off that game. And then on the 3rd test, the Wallabies really did well to win that final test in a very, very dominant fashion in Sydney in the rain. So this will be an interesting game overall. So I forgot this actually, weather in Johannesburg, right? Johannesburg is where Ellis Park is, right? Perfect weather, of course. Always sunny in South Africa. I don't know why I keep looking at the weather. Every time I look at it, every time I do this, it's sunny. Okay, so I don't know why I even look at it. But anyway, moving on. Let's talk about. Oh yeah, I forgot. Who's the referee? Who's the referee? Oh my god. Who's the referee? I actually forgot who the referee is gonna be. Who's the referee? There's no referee? Oh my god. Wait, I think I can remember. I think it's Ben O'Keefe. It is. Oh my god! I knew it. Oh, it's Ben O'Keefe. Ah. I watch way too much rugby to know that this will be Ben O'Keefe. Okay. It's Ben O'Keefe. Oh no. He's so 16th player on the field for the South Africans. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's not good news. But anyway, doesn't matter. We're gonna win regardless. Let's look at the players that's gonna be representing their prospect nations for this monumental test match of the year. Okay. So for the Springboks, we've got Ox Nche, the guy that don't eat salad, coming in number 1. Malcolm Marx coming in number 2, and then we've got Wilco Low coming in number 3 for the Springboks. Obviously, Ox Nche is very dominant, but Wilco Low has been, coming up through the ranks. I think that the Wallabies might not have been that bad of a time, to be really honest with you. With Jem Slipper, the veteran, on the loose air side, he's going to be... I mean, Wilco Low is a great scrummager, by the way. So with Jem Slipper on the loose air side, I think he's going to be okay. Billy Pollard comes in number 2. And then the boasting Porter man in the front row for the Wallabies, Tanlala Tupou. He will be putting a lot of pressure onto Malcolm Marx. And I think that the way Tupou likes to scrum, he really likes... He does this thing where he drops his outside shoulder a little bit. I just don't think that Nche is going to get underneath Tupou, to be really frank with you. I think this will be a fascinating battle between the two. And I actually have I think Tupou have a good chance here to neutralize Nche. And we'll have to wait and see if that's going to pay out for the Wallabies. But absolutely huge game. I think that in terms of line out, Malcolm Marx has a slightly better edge over the throws. But overall, I think Tupou will be outstanding against Nche. Coming in the locks now, we've got Eben Esbeth and the Lou Diacha obviously returning recently in the July Test Series. Has been outstanding. He's been out of the Springboks fold for quite a while. And this is like an old traditional combination that once upon a time, Diacha and Eben Esbeth was like, the future of the Springbok rugby, especially coming from the locks. And, this is a very, very traditional and very devastating combination for the Springboks there, and this is where they wanted to assert their dominance for their team. And we've got Nick Frost coming number 4, but talking of dominance, the most dominant lock in the world, in my opinion, the Big Willie, Will Skelton, and everybody knows I love Big Willie. He's the best, he's the greatest. His performance against the Lions in the 3rd test was absolutely brutal and outstanding. Just physicality and just immense, absolutely immense. And looking for a similar performance against the Springboks on the weekend. And this will be just fascinating to see how he will fare up against, Ebenezer and Diacha, who the two, potentially the best lock in the world once upon a time. And we'll have to see how this is going to go. In the blindside flanker position for the Wallabies, we've got Tom Hooper. And I thought he should be starting for the Lions to us. It's good to see that he's here for the Wallabies number 6. I really think that he's grown a lot from last time he was in South Africa, on the Eddie Jones, where the Springboks got, where the Wallabies got flogged by the B team. I think that the Tom Hooper this will be a great chance for him to redeem himself, and I think he's much, much better than what he was back then as well. Marco van Staden will be having a 6th jersey in the open side position for the Springboks. We've got Peter Sepp du Toit coming in number 7 in the blind side, just immense. An additional line-out option as well there. Fraser McRae, the open side for the Wallabies. Grace for the Lions too as well. Faster and more nimble, I think, than Marco van Staden, in my opinion. An interesting selection by Rassie Rasmus. Xia Kolisi comes in at number 8, which means that I think at some point, Marco van Staden will go to 8, and as we shall see, I think that Esther Gezen will get moved to 6. And then they have Damian Willemse on the bench to come up at 12. So that's my prediction. But I think that's why Xia Kolisi is at 8, because he's going to come off. And Van Staden going to go to 8 because the Springboks got a 5-3, a traditional 5-3 setup on the bench. So I think that's what they want to do to try out this combination. I think this might be the downfall for Rassie Rasmus. It's getting a little bit too creative. I mean, I can understand what Rassie's going for. He's aiming for speed all around the park. But I think that, having obviously Esther Gezen at 6 keeps that speed on the field. And whilst, you can see they pretty much have 4 wingers on the field in the backline as well. Speed is a key word for the Springboks, but I don't think that I'm not sure if that's going to work against the Wallabies, to be really frank with you. And coming in at number 8 for the Wallabies, the captain himself, Henry Wilson, coming in number 8. In the back line now, this is where the speed difference, I think that the Springboks really trying to exploit. Grant Williams comes in number 9 for the Springboks, just like the immense speed there. Nick White, the beard, playing a little bit of mind games here, coming in number 9. I'm wearing my my soccer jersey to show respect, to support the beard, so I'm doing my part. And then we've got man in the box comes in number 10. The goal kicking might again be a bit of an issue for the Springboks. I think that man in the box goal kicking still hasn't been that quite get there yet. I think James O'Connor, Rabbit will have that goal kicking edge over him, but the speed again, Rabbit is not quite as nimble as he used to be. But yeah, we'll have to see how he's gonna fare against the Springboks for potentially the full duration of the game, right? That Wallabies got. Wallabies got 6-2 on the bench, so he's going to have to fare 80 minutes out there. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out for the Wallabies. There might be a bit of a overlook there for Joe Schmidt there, because James O'Connor played off the bench for the entire Super Rugby season. He hasn't played a full game of rugby for a very long time. He's been playing just half games coming off the bench for the Crusaders. So for him to play a full game in this test match, this will be quite brutal, to be honest. So this might be a big question mark here for the Wallabies. Coming number 11, again, more speed. Kurti Adensa, dealing pitch for the Wallabies. Outstanding. He's been just tremendous for the Wallabies, especially in recent years. Grown so much, developed so good as a ball carrier nowadays. And then here's the wild card for the Springboks, Andre Esterhuizen. Is he gonna go to number 6? I mean number 6 or number 7 at some point. Depends on where they're gonna put Damien Willems up. But I think I have suspicion that he's gonna go to number 6 at some point because of Sia Khaleesi sitting at 8. We're gonna let Ikitau come in at number 12. Again, with Esterhuizen at 12, I spoke about this yesterday. The fact that they haven't got Dialinda here as well, they may be underestimating Ikitau's ability at 12. I think Rassie's done a lot of looked a lot of tapes, and he probably figured out Ikitau is not still a little bit out of place for 12 because Ikitau played most of the season at 13. So maybe he's figured out that he doesn't need Dialinda at 12 for that reason. So Esterhuizen comes in at 12, Ikitau the opposite number there. But Rassie has not taken the number 13 jersey lightly. You got Jesse Krill, probably the best outside centre in the world. I would just say the best outside centre in the world. In the number 13 jersey, up against Joseph Asuku Swali'i. To be honest, I thought Swali'i's defense has been an issue throughout the whole Lions tour. It got much better in the third test, but still a little bit opposition, and he's going to really feel what Test rugby is about this weekend. Last year he came out and prematurely said that Test rugby is easier than Super Rugby. He's going to get really, he's going to really earn his paycheck this weekend against Jesse Krill. With that, $2 million contract that he's going to really have to earn that this weekend. We got Ethel van der Merwe, the clone of Kurti Adensa on the field at number 14. Max Jorgensen, probably the best prospect the Wallabies have had for a very, very, very long time. He's just so good. And again, this weekend we'll have to see if anybody's going to break up it's going to break up the defense of the Springboks. It's going to be him. And again, he's probably the only one who can match the speed of the Springboks on the field overall. So this is going to be an outstanding matchup here for Max Jorgensen. Apalele Fasi, again, another super fast guy on the fullback position. Not much of a kicking game. I think Tom Wright might have a bit of a kicking advantage there. But Tom Wright for the Wallabies coming on 15. Outstanding for the Wallabies. Plays not just a traditional fullback for the kicking game, but he also serves as a second playmaker at times. And really helps out in that decision making in the back line at times. Coming on in the bench now. Again, Rassie Erasmus, 5-3 on the bench. Interesting setup. But we'll have to see if that's going to pay off for him this weekend. Is he taking the Wallabies lightly? We'll find out. Bungi Munabe comes number 16. Jan Hendrik Vessels number 17. And then Asenathi Ntalbakanye comes in number 18. Relatively new on the bench here for the Springboks. We got Brendan Payanga Amosa. Great outings at the Lions tour. Comes in number 16. Augustus Bell comes in number 17. And we've got Zan Nongo coming number 18. Two youngsters off the bench. This will be a huge opportunity for both of them to really show what they can do against potentially the best scrum in the world. But I think that the Springboks, I think they actually have an opportunity here to prove themselves because of the relatively new faces here on the bench at the props for the Springboks. Franco Moster gets number 19 jersey. Again, he'll be huge coming off the bench. Jeremy Williams has been outstanding for the Wallabies and for the Western Force. Will be coming off the bench at number 19. Alberto Smith comes in number 20. Again, he's cast that versatility to play back at times and the just impact play off the bench. Extra work will have to be ditched out by him this week because of the one forward short. We'll have to see how that works out. The Wallabies has opted for the 6-2 on the bench with Langi Gleeson, and then champion De Kripney will come in at number 21, an extra lock and extra loose forward just to add some extra punch for the Wallabies. And they've probably already identified the key area, which is the lock area. That's going to be the tight area around the rocks. Is going to be the battle that's going to be needs to be won. And we'll have to see how this is going to work out. I've criticized Joe Schmidt for putting out the 6-2 on the bench because the Wallabies, none of these forwards really have the versatility to, like Quagga Smith, that can play a back if somebody gets injured. So I think that's strategically actually a mistake for the Wallabies. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Joe Schmidt, Dr. Joe Schmidt, is going to make a difference this weekend with his decisions. We got Kobus Reinach again. It's just fast, family of speed in his blood at number 21. Kanan Moody, another winger, just, outside center, former winger, on the bench at number 22. And Damien Willemse, the greatest Springbok in history of Springbok, come in number 23. He could potentially slotting at 10, because, Kanan Moody obviously could potentially come on at center, right? And then Damien Willemse could come in at 10. Wait, are they going to put Willemse at 10 instead of 12? Oh my God, Rassie is really overplaying his hand this weekend. But hey, I look forward to this game. I'm being itching for this action this whole week. Let me know your thoughts. I think the Wallabies will win this one for a historical match. I think the goal kicking is going to let down the Springboks a little bit. Final score, 15 points to 12 for the Wallabies. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys after the game for celebrations for the Wallabies. Imminent victory. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Donkey.